And we are back on The Rodriguez Show, and we have our guest for today's episode. Tomorrow at ThePotluckPresents is throwing on an event, and our friend Arshi is here. Hey, how are you?
I'm so good. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you are one of the founding members, and so am I, of Potluck Presents. And this is going to be the fourth one, right?
Yeah.
Are you excited?
Oh, I'm so excited. This theme is really, really good, so I'm really excited about this one.
Yeah, the theme is belonging, and right away we'll plug at ThePotluckPresents. That's the Instagram. So you should get tickets for the event that's happening tomorrow, 4 p.m. in Fullerton, and you're going to be telling stories about belonging. And we'll get to all that, but just tell us like what it is and how you decided to start it.
Yeah, so The Potluck Presents is a community that is facilitated by storytelling, so it's really simple at its core. I have been thinking about it for a while because I moved to Southern California right before the pandemic, and it was really hard to meet people even after all the lockdown restrictions were lifted, and I had made a couple of friends, and I started going to events, and I realized that a lot of the events I wasn't meeting anyone new because they were like a lot of people and everyone would come with their friends. And I was thinking, like, what if I hosted events around storytelling because I work in marketing and I just love stories, and it's a big topic that's been coming up in my life over the past couple of years. And I was like, what if we do this but, like, make people talk to each other? Like, adult icebreakers, but, like, fun and cute.
Yeah.
So ran it by some friends, including you, and a bunch of people were like, that sounds awesome. Like, that's cool. And so we just started working on it.
Nice. Yeah. And I was there. I've only not been to one of them, and they've all been great so far. So they all involve people going up and telling stories about a certain topic. Tomorrow's is going to be belonging. But what else, how is the structure of it? Specifically tomorrow's, how is it going to go?
Yeah, so we call this structure the Untold Stories, and the way that we do it is that it's half workshop and then half storytelling. So the first half, our founding team, we design a couple workshops that get everyone really like loosened up. We have conversations. We do a little bit of writing and reflecting that kind of lead up and build up to the theme. And then we have an intermission. And then for the second half, we invite 5 people who have prepared stories around the theme for that month to share their stories. This one is going to be really, really cool because we actually did an event around belonging with another organization last week. And so we are doing like a double feature of belonging. And we're bringing in a guest co-host. Her name is Katie Quesada, and she's going to actually teach a workshop on how to tell stories. That's going to be part of our workshop section in the beginning. So it's going to be, we're so new, as you know, Caesar, and we are just like trying out different formats. And that really came from a lot of people being like, hey, how do I get up there and tell a story? How do I pick a moment to tell a story about? And that's why we kind of brought in Kate. We're bringing in Katie, and she's going to help us as a community learn how to do that better.
And I think everybody can benefit, whatever art firm you're doing, where you even podcasting, you could benefit from, hey, I need to learn how to tell a story properly.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah. Sometimes even when we're trying to get through things fast, it's hard to like structure your thoughts quickly, you know?
Yeah. Totally.
So how was belonging was the theme that the other organization already had, right?
Yeah. So we did an organization last week in Pasadena, and the organization Story School Live was doing a fundraiser for another nonprofit that was called The Lucky Few. And that organization does a lot of work that does advocacy for people with Down syndrome. And they do a lot of work specifically around belonging. And The Potluck Presents, really our core, our founding group, I think something that brings us together is that we are underrepresented voices. So we come from different ethnic backgrounds, religious backgrounds, racial identities. And so I think even going back to the origin, a lot of what brought us together and is interesting about the work that we do is that a lot of stories are predominantly told in white-centric spaces. And as underrepresented people, we don't always feel empowered and confident to tell our stories. And that's something that I've noticed throughout my career, throughout my personal life. And so I think that theme of belonging, like, it really just like resonated with me. And I was like, if we're gonna do an event to talk about belonging, then we should also do one for our community. And that's kind of how it came about. And that's I think it's kind of cool because there's some continuity from last week's event going into this week's event. Like, how do you feel like you belong? Like, what does home feel like to you? Where and who do you belong to? It's a really interesting set of questions that you can keep asking around
You
this.
can take it in so many different ways.
Exactly.
And so that's what's going to be interesting to hear.
Yeah.
It's happening tomorrow in Fullerton. And if they want to get tickets, go to @ThePotluckPresents on Instagram. That's where the link will be for the tickets. So I mean, obviously I was there, but for you, how were the first 3 events that you've done on your own?
Yeah, they were so fun. I think, for the record, the one event we did without Caesar was like a disaster. Well, no, it wasn't a disaster, but we're a small but mighty founding team, and so I think an organization like this really we need all hands on deck, and I think we really want to be an organization that is by and for community. So they were really good. I think we learned so much. I think we try to really bounce around in SoCal. So we've done events in Orange County, Long Beach, and LA, and then even Pasadena. And so I think we learned a lot. I think one of the biggest challenges that we're coming up against, and this is where we'd love input from any of our listeners or anyone who comes to our events, is one of the hardest things to do is to secure space. Mm-hmm. It's really expensive, and honestly, we do charge for tickets, but all that money really just goes into the space rental and the food. And so I think that's a challenge that we're trying to go beyond. But other than that, I think it's just really cool because it's a pretty free form. We set the theme, but it's really cool what kinds of stories people tell. So, for example, our first one, Caesar, you were at this one, but it was about passion. And so, it was about joy. Mm-hmm. And we had people talk about work. We had people talk about their grandparents. We had people talk about little moments with their coworkers. And it's just you can get really serious with something like joy and talk about a really big epiphany moment. Or you can get really, really granular and be like, hey, there's this one time where my coworker stuck up for me at work and I totally didn't expect it. And everybody's laughing and sharing in that moment with you. So it's really fun, and I think part of the reason that we call it the potluck is because we never know who's going to show up, right. And that's kind of cool because you don't know what you're going to get. It's the luck of the pot, and that's why we really love the audience participation because that room of people will probably never be together ever again.
Yeah,
and that's a really unique experience, which is why we want you all to come and be a part of that space with us.
Yeah, and that's the thing you said. It's not just about going there and seeing people talk about, their life or their stories. It's there's the activities that you do. They're really introspective too. So you're learning about yourself and other people at the same time.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
So where do you see this going this year and further?
Yeah, so we did a cool little brainstorming meeting actually a couple weeks ago. So there's 4 of us co-founders, which is really awesome because we're all kind of owning our skills and our expertise. And I think our goal for this year at least is to do at least 12 events, so 1 event per month with a different theme. And we see it go, when we really dream about it, we just see it becoming this entire community that's digital and physical. I think we would love to have a dedicated space where people could come and just be in a community whenever they want to. As Caesar knows, we have a lot of plans around merchandise and just fun stuff, sweatshirts, t-shirts, really anything and everything. But I think what I really dream of when I see this is having a physical space or multiple physical spaces where people can come and even just going on this month's theme, always feel like they belong there and that their voice matters and that they can tell their story and that they're in charge of their own narrative. Because I think sometimes as marginalized groups of people, so many people tell stories about us, and I really want people like us to be able to tell stories about ourselves instead.
Yeah. Well, that's great. That's one of the things that being just the sound, because the first time I did a story and people really enjoyed it. They were really accepting of the story. And then the third time I was just, by myself. I wasn't doing anything. I was just running the sound, and I still felt appreciated. So people are really nice at these events. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Is there anything else you want us to know about the Potluck Presents?
What I would love for you to know is that we are such a fluid community. Even Caesar, not just even Caesar, but we had one of our friends who was coming and just really involved, and she just stepped up and was I want to actually be more involved, and I want to be a co-host, and I want to be a co-founder, and now she is. And I say that because we're all doing this as a side hustle, and we need what you have to bring to the table, and if this is a space that you're interested in, I think you can get a lot out of it, and we can certainly learn a lot from you along the way. So please speak up, reach out to us, DM us, talk to us at the events. Any way that you want to be involved is a place that we want to take our community.
Nice. So thank you for being here, Arshi.
Thank you.
And we'll see you tomorrow at Fullerton, 4 o'clock. Potluck presents Untold Stories Belonging. It's going to be great. I'll be there. And Mondo, you're down?
Yeah, down pull up.
Yes.
All right. Thanks again for being here, Arshi.
Thank you.
We're going to get back into the music with Mondo, and we'll have more on The Rodriguez Show.